Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Brock. And welcome back from the vacation, the little break we had here. But we wanted to jump right back into it with a very special episode with a very special person. She's a YouTuber and she has an incredible story of weight loss. So please, guys, give it up for Megan and
Y'all ready to record?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Brock, and welcome back to, I think this is like the 10th, 11th episode. And every time I do this, I always say that I'm so baffled that I'm still doing it because, I have a hard time sticking with anything. Anyways, so today's episode is going to be with a YouTuber that's definitely on the up and coming, and somebody who came onto my radio from her weight loss videos. And please give a nice warm welcome to Megan. And hi, Megan.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just met you literally 10 minutes ago.
Yes. I mean, we've talked a lot on Instagram, but this is the first time we've
Zoomed, so to speak.
Yes.
Zoomed. So you popped up on my radar. Probably November is when that video came out.
It was in June or July.
Okay, so it must have been around August.
Yeah.
When you came.
Yeah. I think John reacted to it in July.
And for the people that don't know, John is the person on the page Obese to Beast, which I'm sure a lot of you know if you listen to this podcast. And Megan's got a similar story in terms of, losing weight, having the sleeve done, and doing the damn thing, So please enlighten me to your story about how you got to the point where you were like, I need to get this surgery done.
Yeah. So I'll preface this by saying I got surgery when I was 22 years old. I'm 24 now.
Mm-hmm.
But basically I had been fat my whole life. Also, I use the word fat as a non-insult. It's just a descriptor to me. So I just want that disclaimer out there. But I've been fat my whole life. I've been a big kid, a big young adult, a big adult, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was 16, I actually was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, but I had so much other stuff going on with my health as well that for some reason I just didn't care about that.
Yeah.
And luckily it never got any worse because I was on metformin to kind of prevent it from getting worse. And then when I was 20, I just had some routine blood work done. And it came back and I had a whole slew of problems with it. But the most notable one was that my liver enzymes were all out of whack. I don't particularly remember what exactly was going on with them, but all I know is at the age of 20, I was well on my way to having fatty liver disease.
Oh, wow.
Which already ran in my family. And so I had genetics working against me as well. And for some reason, that was what did it for me, was that. It wasn't the pre-diabetes. It wasn't the fact that I was 315 pounds by the time I had that blood work done.
Oh, wow. I didn't know what your biggest was.
21 or 20. Yeah, it was 20. And I started thinking about just my life because I was in college and I was going to graduate the following year. And I was like, Megan, now's kind of just the time anyways. Yeah. And I had tried pretty much everything in the book that you could up until the age of 20 to try and lose weight. And for one reason or another, I just didn't stick to it.
Now, do people, and this happens with me, so I assume it might happen to you, people did you really try everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've gotten that. I got that from my own family. So
yeah, me too.
Not my parents. My parents, I just like whenever I talk about my family, I'm not talking about my parents. My
Yeah, of
parents are
course.
the most supportive people about this whole thing.
Yeah.
It was like extended family. But yeah, I got that from my own family. And I just didn't care at that point because I was like so just ready to start.
Yeah.
And so I kind of posed it as a question to my parents, but I kind of posed it as like, I'm going to do this thing about getting bariatric surgery. And my mom was like, cool, go for it. My dad has always been like a pretty fit guy. Like he just likes like being active and eating healthy foods.
Yeah.
And so his initial reaction was like, "Oh, you don't need that." No, he's like, "You could do that on your own." And I'm like, "Dad, I'm over 300 pounds." And he didn't know. Like he couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And I said something like has to be done. and and initially like both my parents they were cool with it, and they were cool with it throughout the whole thing. And yeah, so really it was the liver thing that pushed me over the edge to seek bariatric surgery. But I had kind of been thinking about it for a little bit before that,
Yeah.
because around that time was the time that my weight just really started to bother me. And it was like the first time in my life that my weight started to bother me. And so that was kind of just like the last sign that was like, okay, Megan, let's do this thing. And it was actually at the end of the year as well. So it was kind
Oh,
of
really?
nice, like the whole like I got to start it like in the new year. My first bariatric appointment was in February.
Oh, wow.
So
I think that's when mine
yeah,
was too.
So I think it was like February 8th or 9th or something.
Yeah, mine was February of 2017. And
Mine was February of 2018.
that's and for me, at least mentally, I was just like, I was kind of bummed in a way, because I was like, man, I'm kind of admitting defeat here, that I can't do it on my own. It's a big mental thing to get over. And
Yeah.
all you see when you see that is the actual bypass surgery. Like, I didn't know what a sleeve was. I had no idea that was an option.
Yeah, I went in knowing I wanted the sleeve, because I thought about lap band, but then I found out that my clinic actually didn't do it because of all the possible health complications that come along with it.
Yeah.
And then I also was like, Megan, if you're gonna go under, just like get it done.
Yeah.
Like don't get something that you can like adjust, I just was like, go big or go home.
Well, yeah, my doctor basically said, do you want to come in here every 6 months, or do you want to come in here 4 times and that's it?
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I see your point.
Yeah, but I had done research on the different kinds, and I had found a lot of people like my age, like my girls my age specifically, who had it done. And so that kind of made me realize like that was the path that I wanted to go down.
Yeah.
And then all the doctors agreed that it was the best route for me to go to. So.
And like me, I assume one of the things that happened is when you were doing your research for it, you have to be very careful where you do the research, because you can run into the people who just didn't commit to the whole process, and you're like, oh, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why would I get this? Nothing seems to do well with this. And
it was that, and then also just seeing people's attitude towards it in general. It was like people were like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I want to be skinny. And I'm like, that's not
but okay. That's not it.
You're not gonna be skinny until you have like plastic surgery to
remove skin,
be skinny.
Yeah.
And I've figured that out really, really quickly. But yeah, no, I remember looking on like forums and stuff, and they were some of the most negative places.
That's why I don't do meetings or anything like that, because it's a bunch of people. For the most part, there's like 2 or 3 people that are really doing the damn thing, and then everybody else is like, what do you mean I can't have cake? And you're like, what?
Yeah, part of me like kind of, because I moved from Michigan to Denver around my like 1 year anniversary mark.
Yeah.
of having surgery. So it was like 1.5 years since I started the program. So I really missed out on like the nutritionist aspect of it.
Mhm.
And I also missed out on like support groups and stuff. And part of me really wishes that I like had gone to support groups like a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then I've like heard and read so many accounts on like online support groups that just like defeat me so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Like
maybe
I'm
not.
still part of the group technically on Facebook, on social media. And
Mm,
it's a lot of people asking questions that I think they're more looking for validation for a bad decision they're about to make than they are
yeah.
like, hey, I'm really struggling here. They're just like, hey guys, it's Christmas. Is it cool if I had like 20 cookies? Is that cool?
Yeah.
You know,
Which like around Christmas, like sure, go for it. I
yeah.
ate like a swamp goblet around the holidays this year. So
Yeah, I told you
it
I
was
didn't. The Christmas this year was rough. Like my goal was not to gain a pound, and I fucked that one up pretty bad.
I didn't gain weight actually. So I am pretty proud of myself on that front. But I also didn't lose anything either. But I also wasn't actively trying to lose anything.
But that's a
So
win, though. That's a win. You didn't gain anything. Like,
yeah. I've started with a registered dietitian. I started with her like a few months ago,
yeah,
3 or 4 months ago. And through that, I've gotten a lot better at like listening to my hunger cues and stuff. And I feel like that's just kind of like how nothing like quote unquote bad happened like around the holidays was because I was like, oh, okay, I'm hungry or I'm full. Like,
well,
all right.
like so in my family, my dad's had a bypass,
Yeah.
and then I had the sleeve,
Yeah.
and then my brother got a little jealous, so he got the sleeve.
Mm.
So our you could literally fit all of our Christmas dinner in like one normal sized
One
plate, and we could just eat it like
That's
dogs.
funny. Oh my God. Yeah. I went to my cousin's house for Christmas because I didn't get to go home. So I went to my cousin's house.
Hmm.
And I took so much food. Like I have not taken that much food on my plate in forever.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, Megan,
What are you doing?
what are you doing? Why did you just do this? And I ate like half of it. And that was a lot for me. That was like,
Yeah, I mean, have
yeah.
you gotten to a point where you're eating, but you're like, I almost ate a normal meal just now? That and there's just
Yes.
something in your brain that freaks out, and you're like, all right, I've got to start way over at the beginning again.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I remember, I think last year, I ordered from a poke place around here,
Hmm.
but I didn't get rice. I got like greens.
Yeah,
And I finished the whole bowl. It was like their small size bowl,
yeah,
but I finished the whole thing. And I was like, I have not done this in such a long time.
yeah,
And I mean, I didn't feel like bad because it was like a salad
yeah.
basically. So it was like whatever.
But
Um,
you have the awareness
but
now.
yeah, it's crazy. Like I always have this weird fear that like my stomach is like back to normal.
Me too.
And that makes me feel so much better. And but then like I'll go out to eat with like my parents, like my dad when he comes to visit,
Yeah,
or like my boyfriend, and they can eat like theirs and then what I don't eat of mine. And I'm like, oh, okay,
I'm nowhere near normal
I'm
again.
good. I'm fine. I'm doing okay.
Like I had
It's like
sushi a couple of weeks ago, and people order like 2 or 3 rolls. I order one roll and get through 4 of them, and I'm just like, I'm
see,
done.
I can eat sushi like nobody's business. I can eat like 2 rolls of sushi,
Yeah, I
like
can't.
two like small rolls, like the maki rolls or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can eat like 2 of those like nobody's business. Like I usually get one that's just like fish. I usually go for like the yellowtail and scallion one,
Mm-hmm.
and then a sweet potato tempura one.
That
And I can
sounds
eat both of
amazing.
those. I can eat both of those just fine because
Oh
they're like 8 pieces, but they're like tiny pieces.
yeah,
And so for some reason, I can eat sushi like crazy, but I can't eat like the fancy like rainbow rolls or
yeah.
whatever. I
You
can
can't
eat
eat the
like
big rolls or anything like that.
yeah, I can eat probably like 4 or 5 pieces of
Yeah,
that
that's right.
one.
Like the sushi I get normally here is spicy tuna, and it's pretty decent sized. And I can have four of
Those ones are
those.
always big, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, I'm done. I can't physically eat anymore.
Yeah. I used to make the joke, like, when I was dating, I was like, I'm a really cheap date. Like, or I'd be like, if you can't decide, like, what you want to get, just have me order it
And
because
you can
I'm,
have
like,
whatever's
not a
there.
picky eater, and you can have whatever is left over.
Yeah, and so I went out on a date with somebody who had the same surgery, and like between us, it was like a $17 date. Like it was
Yeah.
so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny. I never went on a date with somebody who had weight loss surgery. I went on a date with somebody who had lost the same amount of weight I had.
Yeah.
Like he started at the same weight I was and lost the same amount that I had. So that was kind of cool to like talk about that experience. But yeah, I never went on a date with like someone who had surgery.
I think it's a
Like
different
that would have been too
experience.
weird for me.
Well, it's a really weird experience because I didn't even think about it until we were there. And I was
Mhm.
just like, what are you going to get? And they were like, this. And, I'll probably take home most of it. I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, me and Mario ordered Greek food last night because that's become like my new go-to takeout because like you can't really eat unhealthily with Greek food typically.
Yeah.
Like
It's not like laden in butter and all that.
yeah, it's like fresh, like Mediterranean food's always like super fresh. Anyways, I got a bowl and I could only eat like a quarter of it. And then I had the rest for lunch today. And I'm like, this is why I love being a bariatric person. Because I get to save like half of my meals and have them the next day.
Now, what made you decide to start YouTube? Did you start it after? You started after surgery, right?
Oh, yeah. I started it, I want to say it was like 2 or so months before my 2-year
Oh,
like,
wow.
surgery mark. So I'm like
You're newbie.
I'm very like old in the bariatric like timeline.
Yeah, no, yeah, it absolutely is.
And so like I feel, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it because I felt like there wasn't a lot of bariatric people who were like 2 years out or
Yeah.
so. It was always people who had like just had it and then were like vlogging their experience or whatever, which is great. Those were great resources for me. But I wanted more of the like, okay, what's it like 2-3 years down the line?
The long term.
And yeah. And that was like my main reason for starting it and kind of starting it around my surgery, like basing a lot of my content around it.
Yeah.
But also I was just bored because it was in lockdown, so there was nothing to do.
That's true.
Yeah. I was like, there's nothing to do. And Mario was still working. My boyfriend was still working. And so I was like, I have 0 things to do after I'm done with work.
It is weird though that there's there's no representation after like 6 months usually. That's when people kind of give up.
And I feel like I don't want to be like pessimistic here, but like I feel like they either just kind of like stopped making content, which is valid because that shit is time consuming, especially when it's not your full-time job.
Yeah. When it's like your side thing.
Yeah. I put like the same amount of hours. Well, maybe not. I put like the same amount of hours as like a part-time job into making like 2 videos a week.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of work. Anyways, I feel like they either just stopped making content for whatever reason or like they fell off. Like they just like, because like I feel like 6 months to a year is when like you really start to realize like how not permanent of a change it kind of is.
Yeah.
Because you can start eating like normal
snacking
food again. Yes.
That's the bad one.
And I've always been a big snacker. Like my dad's a big snacker. I'm a big snacker. My mom's not so much a big snacker, but my dad and I are really close. So are me and my mom, but like my dad and I are really close. So we just like snack all the time. and so I just like snacking has just been the way I do things for a very long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, once I could start snacking again, that was
A telltale sign. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, whoa, Megan, you just ate like
A sleeve of crackers.
what are you doing?
Yeah, and I
It's
warn
like,
people about that all the time.
yeah, it's like me and Mario, like I just said, we just ordered pizza. Like before we started, we ordered pizza. And I'm still dealing with like food guilt and stuff. That's
Yeah.
something that I'm kind of trying to work through a little bit. But I just like sat down with like my one piece of pizza and like my three like bread bite thingies.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my plate and I'm like, Megan, you used to eat regularly an entire medium sausage pizza from Domino's.
Yeah.
And a 16-piece like bread bite thingy. And then you'd get the cookie brownie thing with it and you'd eat like half of that. And so I'm like, Megan, you're doing okay. Like,
you're all right. You're all right. One slice isn't going to kill you.
Yeah. I always like the saying, like, one bad meal won't make you fat, and one good meal won't make you skinny, because I feel like it's just the truth.
Yeah, it's 100% true.
Yeah.
Like, if I sit there and eat greens for one meal a day, that's not really going to help me.
And that's kind of like how I see it too now, is like, especially now that I'm with an RD, it's like, if I do like good throughout the whole week, I don't really necessarily feel like bad about splurging on like one meal on the weekends or something. Like, that's not, yeah. And like, I ate very well today, so I was like, pizza's fine. Like, I can do pizza. That's cool. I don't know. I feel like after, especially like the 2-year mark, it kind of just becomes about like balance instead of like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that.
Yeah, and especially I think
you can eat everything.
Especially in your in your situation, you're not trying to become I don't know, I'm just trying to think like Mrs. Olympia or something like that. That's just not what you want to do, you know? So where you're at right now is great.
Yeah.
You're happy.
Like, I gained, and I'm very honest about this, I gained like 20 pounds in 2020.
Yeah.
How fitting. But I am kind of okay with that because the year beforehand was just like a shit show.
Yeah.
And I still managed to like keep my weight down and whatever. And it ended really poorly as well. 2019 did. And so, and at that point too, I was like super obsessive over what I was eating and like all this stuff. And so I kind of took like quarantine and everything as like a sign to just like slow down in like all aspects of my life, like professionally, like everything.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I do also consider it as like the 10 of those pounds were pounds that I lost super unsustainably.
Yeah.
In 2019, like I made drastic cuts, just like out of the blue,
and like 200 calories a day type, like really unhealthy eating.
Yeah, it was like I had just gone to a bariatric doctor here.
Yeah.
To try and get established with one. I hated him. I hated that whole experience. And I went to him like when I was like a year and a half out from surgery or like post-op.
Yeah.
And I said like, I've lost like 100 pounds. Like, I'm just here because I was told that I should like establish a relationship with like a bariatric doctor, and you had really good reviews online and like you're in my insurance network and whatever. And first off, he started the conversation, and I'm not one to fish for compliments like ever. Like, I know what I've done and that's it.
Yeah.
But he did not acknowledge my success at all. Like at all.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. We don't have a working relationship yet. Maybe he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I kind of just like poo-pooed it. But then he goes, Megan, you are partaking in 2 substances that you cannot partake in to be a part of this program. And I was like, what could those possibly be? Because at that point, I had maybe 2 drinks a month.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I don't drink a lot anymore. but I did smoke weed at that time
Yeah.
because it helped with my anxiety. But I had actually stopped like a week before I started because I knew that it was like super counterproductive and I just didn't need it.
Yeah.
And because the munchies I get are just out of this
I never even
world.
thought about that. And plus, you can't eat more than a certain amount. So
I know. Like my go-to munchie snack was like 2 chocolate rice cakes with peanut butter. Like that was what I would eat. But
it's so
but I
funny.
would like lather on the peanut butter,
Yeah.
so it was just like so much stuff. And I'm like, Megan, this is super counterproductive. Like, stop this. So I actually stopped just by my own accord, like a week before I went to the doctor. And so he said, marijuana. And I was like, okay, fair, whatever. And then he said, and caffeine. And I'm like, you don't know my life. You don't know my
Excuse
story.
me?
I drink like at least the equivalent of like 4 cups of coffee a day. Like
there are 2 things I am known for. Popcorn is one of them. C4 is the other.
Coffee is mine. I started drinking coffee when I was like 16 because I did youth theater. And I did youth theater and high school theater, and I was a stage manager. So like I had the same amount, if not more, work to do than like the people in the shows. So like plus school. And so I was like, you need
go juice.
I'm not like Adderall or anything. Like I like coffee is it. And so I started drinking coffee when I was 16. So, and I never stopped. And when he told me that, I was like, excuse me, not one and it wasn't even because I didn't want to give up caffeine. It was because not a single one of my doctors up until that point told me that I couldn't drink caffeine.
Yeah, my doctor never said that at all.
Yeah, and he said it's because having a smaller stomach puts us at a higher risk for ulcers as it is. And so like caffeine intake can also do that. And I'm like, you know what? If that's how I go, that's how I go. I don't care. But yeah, I had a really bad taste in my mouth going into that appointment already from an experience I had in the waiting room with one of his patients.
Oh, wow.
And I was just kind of like, this is not my place.
I think that's important though. I think that imagine you hadn't gone through the surgery yet and that was your first experience.
Okay. I wasn't going to tell this story, but I'm going to tell this story. You brought that up because, but where this was going was he basically told me I should only be eating half a cup of food per meal.
Yeah, no.
A year out from surgery. And I'm like, that doesn't jive with me, but I obsessed over that. And that's how I ate for a really long time. And that's how I dropped the 10 pounds in 3 months, which was not healthy for me.
That's insane, especially for a female.
Yeah. And so that's why I kind of don't include those 10 pounds in the 20 that I gained last year because I just totally did not do it sustainably. And I know that now. So that's where I was going with that. But this story with this program, it's one of the most well-known bariatric programs in Colorado, I think. And I was talking to this girl and she was around the same age as me. And she was in the process to get surgery. And so I was talking to her and I was like, oh yeah, I had it a year and a half ago. It's the best decision I ever made for myself, whatever. Just trying to hype her up and get excited about it because I could tell she was kind of feeling down in the dumps about it. And I just want to be I'm doing great.
I'm doing good.
I flipped everything. It's a great decision.
Yeah.
But she was in the process of moving apartments, and so she her diet was just not the first on her list of priorities, which as someone who had just moved out here, I totally understood that. Because that's how it is for anybody, weight loss surgery or not, obese or not, that's just how it is. And and she goes, yeah, I think I either didn't lose weight or I didn't gain weight since the last time I saw him. And I'm really afraid he's going to kick me out of the program. And I was like, the fact that that's even something you have to worry about during that being your life circumstance
is ridiculous.
is ridiculous.
Even reality
Like,
TV doesn't do that.
Dr. Now doesn't even
That's
do
what
that.
I'm saying.
They
Like,
kick people out when they've gained like 40 or 50 pounds
after a
have lost
year.
it. Yeah. And I'm like, if that's the kind of program this is, I don't want it.
Yeah, no,
Because
that seems like it's too harsh on people.
yeah, my initial reaction, and I called my mom after this because I was like pissed. Like I was really mad about how my appointment went and how like this conversation I had with this girl, because she seemed like super like committed to the idea of having surgery, but
Yeah,
she was just concerned that she was going to get kicked out after gaining weight after moving.
that's obscene.
and and I'm like, okay, me, like you kind of talked about earlier, me going to get like to the just even start the process was kind of humiliating in itself, because it was like admitting defeat, like you
Yeah,
said. And so you already have this kind of like negative mindset around yourself, which I mean, obviously quickly goes away once you start, I think. But,
yeah,
and like you're scared and all this stuff. And like to be kicked out of a bariatric program, I cannot imagine the regression that would happen after that.
oh yeah, you'd
Like the
gain.
regression of any progress.
Unbelievably, you would gain.
I'm like, this seems so unbelievably counterproductive. And I didn't have any like mental disorders towards food.
Yeah,
Like that was decided before I had surgery, so you have to go through the
the
psychological
psychological
thing.
exam. Yeah,
But like I mean my relationship with food was definitely flawed. It just wasn't to the point of like diagnosis, I think.
yeah,
um but yeah, I'm like, I can't, and I feel like she kind of did just from talking to her. And so I'm like, the amount of the amount of regression that would happen after getting kicked out of like one of the biggest steps you decided to take for yourself, I can't even
well, and like you said,
fathom
it was the
that.
best, and it was the biggest one in that area too. So she would doubly think, "Oh my God, everybody else can do it. What's wrong with me? Why am I messing up so bad?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I even told her, I'm like, dude, moving is stressful.
Hmm.
Like, moving is stressful. You likely don't have real groceries in your place until like a week after you've moved in.
Yep.
And so I said, like, take it easy on yourself. Like, as long as you like tried in that time period,
Yeah.
that's all that really matters, because moving is stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way she said it sounded like it was kind of like a surprise kind of move, like not surprise, but just like kind of last minute. And so I'm like, you're doing fine. Like stop beating yourself up. But after that, I was like, if I'm in a kind of clinic that kicks somebody out of a program after that kind of experience,
Hmm.
I don't want to be here.
Now, a question that I've haven't been able to really ask too many people, but
Yeah.
when you went to the doctor initially, and you were, I guess, essentially established as the patient, um, did they take a picture of you?
Hmm.
Okay. I've been thinking about getting a hold of my doctor and being like, "Hey, can I get a copy of that picture?"
Oh my God. I didn't think about
Because
that.
they saw you at the biggest.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So they saw me my first weigh in, I was 309 pounds, but my highest that I ever remember weighing in at the doctor was 315.
Well, they
But
definitely
that's
saw
like,
me at the biggest because they weighed me and I was just like,
yeah,
"Wow, that big, huh?" Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, 309 to 315 is like a poop and a period of a difference.
Yeah.
So like that's like
That's
nothing.
nothing. Yeah. Whereas,
Yeah. But
I was 525 when I walked in there into
oh
my
my God.
doctor's office. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm going to ask them. I think I'm going to hit them up and ask them to see
Yeah.
if they'll send it to me.
I actually saw, so I didn't get to see any of my doctors before I moved.
Mhm.
I like stopped in to the clinic to like, because I'm from a really small town.
Yeah.
And so like I actually did youth theater with my PA's kids. Like that's
Really?
like how small of a town I'm from. And so I knew her. she obviously couldn't tell them that I was like her patient, but I told them, I was like, hey, your mom saved my life. Like, I can't, like, thank you for being like having her as your mom. But yeah, but I tried to stop it and say like bye, like I'm leaving, but
Yeah.
nobody was there. And because the way it worked, it was very like cyclical. Like they had like their certain times that they were in the
Yeah.
office and whatever.
When they were doing surgeries
Um,
and things like that.
yeah. Well, my surgeons actually were from the Lower Peninsula of Michigan, so like they'd
Oh.
travel up once a month. So I never got to see
Oh.
them again.
Oh yeah. So I met like my
um,
doctor was my surgeon, like at the place I went to.
yeah. So how mine worked was for the 6 months before I had surgery, I saw like an obesity science doctor. But in conjunction with that, I was meeting with the surgeon's PA.
Mhm.
And then I met with the surgeons like a month before my surgery. And then I saw them again the day I had surgery. So, like, I barely knew the people who did my surgery. I just knew like my doctors. And so, yeah. But anyway, so I didn't get to see any of them before I moved out here. And then I went home for Christmas in 2019 and I saw her I saw my PA at lunch with my dad, and she hadn't seen me since like a month or two after I had surgery,
Oh
and
wow.
she like almost lost her poop. Like she was like, look at, well, because she knew me my whole life
Yeah.
too, practically, because like I grew up with her and her kids. And um she was like, you're like almost at the point of like having plastic surgery and stuff to get your skin removed. And I'm like, yeah. And she told me that if I need paperwork from her, just to let her know. And I'm like, thank you. But yeah, like she hadn't seen me since then, and that was really cool because like she worked with me throughout the whole the whole process.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's like, look at you. She almost started crying. I was like, please don't cry.
We
But
when things get a little lighter, I'm actually so my doctor moved to Tampa and have family in that general area, and friends, of course. And I want to go see my friends. And while I'm there, I want to drop by his office and just be like,
yeah,
"Look, man, thank you."
yeah. I think next time I go home, which I'm hoping is in April, uh,
If the
if
world's not
everything is like
ending
a
still.
little bit back to normal. My dad's retiring, so I'm going home for his
Oh, that's
retirement
awesome.
just to be like, hey, congratulations. And to also make up for me not being able to go home for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to definitely go stop by like their office and like my like psychologist's office because he was my psychologist through like high school and
Oh,
like
wow.
through college. And so I just want to be like, I made it out alive. We're
I'm
doing
good.
good. I'm not great, but I'm okay.
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging. Just
Definitely still in therapy. But,
I'm picturing that poster with the cat hanging onto the wire.
no, that's me. That's I need to like print that out and put it on my wall or something because that's me. But yeah, I definitely want to go stop by there and be like, hey, thanks for helping me out. I haven't seen my like obesity science doctor since I think, yeah, like a month after I had surgery.
Oh,
So she
wow.
hasn't seen me in a very long time.
I think the last time my doctor saw me, my surgeon, whatever it was, when I was in recovery
Hmm.
for the surgery. That was the last
Yeah,
time we saw each
yeah,
other.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh,
yeah.
man.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever see my surgeon again, but um, definitely my two doctors for sure, because they helped me more than, I mean, the surgeon did the actual surgery, so like he really helped me, but like mentally, the two doctors helped me more.
How has it been for you? I know similarly, like we've done it on two different versions. Like you've gone pretty viral via YouTube, and
Hmm.
and I did via Twitter and Reddit and all that crap.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and just how has people reaching out to you? Has it felt bad when you can't get back to somebody because your inbox is just
Yeah, I mean, my inbox, honestly, like my DMs on Instagram are like very manageable. Like
yeah
it's probably, and I think it's just because I'm on Instagram a lot, so I just always see them.
yeah
And I try and answer them when I get them, or if I can't, I like make a mental note. I'm like, oh, I have to go like get back to that person. Like that, I don't know. That doesn't make me feel so bad because I am pretty on top. I don't think I've ever not answered a DM. And if I did, it was like one that made me feel uncomfortable. So I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want
Well,
to. I
I've
usually
always
just
had
like
a hard
delete
time.
it.
I've always had a hard time answering the ones. It's like, what did you do? And I
Oh,
know it's not feasible for everybody to do what I did.
I don't care. I'm like, this is what I did.
Yeah, I
And
lay it out, and then like you get the message like, "Oh," and I'm just like, "Sorry,
mhm.
man. I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but it's the truth."
I usually tell people because I will be honest, I know Weight Watchers has like kind of a weird like rap around
Stigma.
it,
Yeah.
but Weight Watchers is how I lost the 40 pounds before I had surgery. Like
Yeah.
Weight Watchers and the accountability of going to the doctor. And so I always tell people, I'm like, if you are feeling overwhelmed by counting calories and macros and stuff, do Weight Watchers because it is one number.
Yeah.
Like it's one number. That's all of those things like combined into one.
And it
And it
does
just
work.
makes it a lot, it does work.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot easier to understand. And I said, even if you don't want to have like surgery,
Yeah.
reach out to a bariatric clinic anyways,
They have other
because like
resources. Yeah,
they
absolutely.
have other options. So like you don't have to be going there to get surgery. You can go there to go to like an obesity science doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's always what I tell people. Like after I tell them I had surgery, like I did this, but these are some other steps that I learned along the way that you could also use. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Pretty much 100%. And so when you started going on YouTube, you were making videos. What I mean, you said like 2 a week,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you made a video that kind of ran away from you
Yes.
unexpectedly.
Yes.
Um,
So I still do upload twice a week.
yeah.
That is something that I still do, which
Yep.
I'm very proud of myself for. I've had to like modify the 2 days now that I actually have people watching me, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I started making videos primarily around my first video was about my surgery.
Yeah.
That was just my first like
Get it out of the way.
that was my
Here's who I
yeah.
am. Here's the situation.
Yeah. Then I started doing like some cooking videos and stuff. But then I made a video about, I think it was like my fifth video. It was like my fourth or my fifth
Wow.
video. Yeah. Let me go see. It was like my fourth or my fifth video. And it was about the fat acceptance movement and me basically just like spilling all of the honesty about my life at 315 pounds
Yeah.
because I felt like I was never like super honest about that
Hmm.
because it was really hard for me to talk about.
Of course.
But I tied it in to it was my sixth video.
Oh my
I
God.
apologize.
That's so
It was my
crazy.
sixth video. uh 4 months ago I posted this. So yeah, in August.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, but I tied it into the fat acceptance movement because that was something I wouldn't say I like promoted. Like I didn't outwardly promote it to
Yeah.
anybody. It was just stuff that I was like consuming and like I followed a lot of women on it and on like Instagram and like all this stuff. So I was just like seeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of helped me justify what I was doing. And so like I tell a lot of people this. I'm like the fact that like John or Obese to Beast like called me a fat acceptance activist. I was like,
That's a
because
little
that's
that's a little
not what I
strong,
was
John.
at all. But now I know what like clickbait is, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Uh, but but yeah. So I made a video about me being 315 pounds and how the fat acceptance movement kind of I feel like egged it on.
Yeah. I agree
Um,
with that.
as with me being so young.
Yeah.
because I entered into that when I was probably like 17. Like I think I was in like high school or like a freshman in college. So I was like 17 or
Those are
18.
very formative
Um,
years too.
yeah. And so I and like social media and like just this whole thing growing up like in the social media age has been very interesting. I'm very happy that I was in like the beginning of it and
Yeah.
not like now. Like I'm really happy I'm not like 16 now
Oh,
because can
it
you
would be a
imagine?
nightmare. It would be an absolute
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah. But I like made a poll on my Instagram and primarily it was just people like that I knew following me being like, "Hey, should I talk about this?" And some people actually said no. Like some people that I knew said no and I was like,
Yeesh.
well, I'm still going to. So I did. And I went to the gym that day for the first time in like a month. And I was like just amped up. And so I'm like, just you're just gonna do this now. And so I did it. And a person called D that I follow or that followed me, they posted the link onto Obese to Beast's Discord server, which I now found out, like, which after that I found out he has like a channel on his Discord server for like reaction requests. So they
Yeah.
posted it in there. Um, and uh, yeah, and then they messaged me. I was working when they messaged me and said that John was reacting to it, and I lost my mind. And I went and I watched it, and I was just like freaking out the entire time.
Yeah, because I think I watched that reaction not live, but like on his YouTube channel, and you were
Yeah.
in the chat. I think at that point.
Yeah. I have followed John for probably like 10 years.
Yeah,
Like,
I followed John for a long time as well, and
mm-hmm,
like when he started doing all the reactions to things like this, I was like, "This is
mm-hmm.
really cool."
Or maybe like 8 years, because I think I started following when I was like 16. It was around the time that I like knew I should lose weight, but I just wasn't. And so I followed him.
Well, it's funny. Like I took some of his advice, but I took it way too far. So
Mm-hmm.
like I remember when he first started, he was like, "Man, I live on these Quest bars." So my
Oh,
brain
yeah.
said exclusively live on Quest bars, and
I hate protein bars.
yeah, they're not
I
good.
cannot do protein bars. Like, my dad eats these super cheap ones from Walmart, and they actually taste like you're eating blood. Like, to the point where I call them, and he calls them now blood bars
Oh, that's
because
so
they taste
funny.
like because they're so high in iron. So they taste like you're eating blood. And I tried one, and I was like, Dad, there are better options. Like there
Anything's
are
a better
so much
option.
better options. Like I could go find you a better option for probably roundabouts the same price as these are that
Hmm.
doesn't taste like blood. But okay. Um but yeah. So I've been following John for 8 years.
Yeah,
And and now we're like friends and
yeah,
it's
that's really
just
cool.
so odd to me. Like it's just very odd.
Yeah.
But so yeah, after that happened, when I posted, I'm drinking seltzer water, so it's making me very
Oh,
burpy.
it's okay. I destroyed that Red Bull.
Bariatric problems. Um, I definitely did not listen to the rule about like not drinking
Oh,
carbonated
neither did
beverages,
I. The only
and
thing I don't drink is
also,
actual soda.
yeah, I can't drink pop anymore.
Yeah.
I can't.
I
Like,
don't. I'm just like,
it,
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I can drink my calories fast.
yeah, if I feel like it, I go for like Diet Coke now, and it has to be like McDonald's Diet Coke. It has to be very
It's got to
specific
be
Diet
it's
Coke.
got to be fountain drink Diet Coke.
Yeah, like it has to like if I'm gonna go down that road, it has to be like diet, like McDonald's Diet Coke. Anyways, yeah. So I had 67 subscribers when I posted that video, and I jumped to 1,000 that week,
Oh, wow.
and then I got to 10,000 in a month. Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit less than a month actually. But I remember I was watching like a Twitch stream of
Yeah.
his too, and like they were all like talking about me. So I like called into the Discord server to like talk to them. and and John was like shocked at the amount that my channel grew, because he was like, I have been on YouTube for a very long time.
He's been
And it's
grinding.
been and he said it's been a very long time since I've seen a channel like skyrocket like that. And I was like, me too. And I did not think mine was going to be the one. So
You know what it
here
is?
we are.
It's your personality. It's your personality.
That's what I get told a lot.
And the subject you were tackling. Because usually, if it comes from somebody like me who's had a bad experience with that movement, or John, it looks really aggressive. The optics of it aren't very good. You know, I've definitely expressed my displeasure, you know, because the thing for me that went ridiculously viral was a before and after picture. And you know that group is not so keen about before and after pictures. And I would just get messages. I would get comments like, oh, you're so fat phobic. I was like, how? What? Fat phobic?
I have not gotten that, thankfully. Like, I think, like, I've lost, like, followers and stuff since, like, when I started losing weight and was public about it.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been, like, nobody's outwardly been like, you're terrible, like, which is really nice.
Well, I mean, it was annoying because I was just like, you know, people like you and I are people that they should be applauding that, like, while we accepted ourselves, we knew we could do better, you know, for our lives. I'm not saying anybody else has to. I'm just saying it should be an option for you to do better if that's what you want.
Yeah. And, like, and my big thing that I try to, like, drive home on my channel a lot is that weight loss surgery or not, progress is never linear and it never will be.
No.
Like, that's kind of like, because this is my first real experience with regain. I did not gain any weight back for that entire 2 years. Like, even like in the like pre-op, when I had to lose like 10% of my body weight or whatever, I never gained weight. I never even like maintained. Like, I was constantly
always
losing
dropping
weight every single month for like 2 years. And so this is my first time really dealing with regain, and realistically it's not that much. Like, it's pretty average for a bariatric person, I think, to like put on like 10 pounds.
Also, like, again, this year is a little out of the normal. Like, the people I feel truly bad for is somebody who got this surgery in December of 2019, and they just had to deal with this world. It's just like, you were set up from the beginning for failure on this.
Because like, so my job, we still go into the office like once a week, like we alternate, because I'm a graphic designer and we make like brochures and we have to print those brochures. And so like one of us goes in every day to like do prints that are needed that day. And so whenever I'm in the office, I'm like, Megan, no wonder you packed on so much weight this year. Like, you don't eat till like 2 p.m. when you're in the office. Like, and and that makes me feel better too, because I know like once we can finally start going into the office again,
you know what the issue is.
A lot easier for me. And so the whole quarantine thing definitely did not help anybody. And so I just like, that's something that I like make abundantly clear on my channel. I don't lie about regain. That's not something that I don't hide it. I don't lie about it. Just what it is. And I don't know, like, I feel like being that authentic in the weight loss like sphere is really important, because it just isn't always the case.
Oh no, I agree with that 100%.
Especially with women.
No.
I don't mean to call out the ladies, because like I love the ladies. It makes me so happy that like 95% of my audience is women, because like it's cool to me. But I feel like women feel so much more guilt about gaining weight and regain after like losing weight. And so I feel like it's just really important to have someone out there talking about that it's like normal and okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important, especially in our situation. Like, they could go to John's channel, but John doesn't have the experience with like the surgery part of things.
Mhm.
And that's why whenever I decided to do the whole, start a YouTube channel, I came to you
Mhm. Mhm.
because you know what that world entails. Like,
Mhm.
how the reception is for things like this. Like, I saw something that's missing, which is, type in, if anybody goes on Google right now and just types in gastric sleeve uh jacked, you're
Mhm.
not going to find, nobody does it,
No.
nobody tries it, nobody,
Yeah.
and it's a thing that's missing, I believe, and since
Mhm.
I'm trying to
I'd
grow muscle.
say because I see some of it on like Instagram, but on YouTube it's like non-existent.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's what I
yeah.
told. I even messaged Greg Doucette about this. I was like, "Look, man, I was like, to be honest with you, as somebody who had the surgery, like, this thing helps. You the way you eat helps me immensely because it keeps me full
Mhm.
for so long."
Mhm.
And
Yeah. And it's really interesting because I kind of talk about it. Like, I have like a core group of foods that I eat in some way, shape, or form, like all the time.
yeah,
And when I venture out from those, I get really full really quickly or I don't feel very good.
yeah,
But the portions in which I have been able to eat those like normal foods for me have gotten so much bigger.
yeah, exactly.
And that's why I'm so honest about going to an RD now, because I feel like for me it's become a matter of like eating within my calories. As long as I'm eating within like my calorie limit,
Mhm.
my portions like don't necessarily matter anymore. And like, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
like, and because I feel like going to that doctor really freaked me out when he was like, "Oh, you should only be eating like half a cup of food per meal, like a cup max."
Yeah, I've
And
seen that from like a
yeah,
bunch of places, and I'm just like, no, that's different. Like, you say that
yeah.
if I drink out of a straw, I'm gonna die. No, I'm not. Like, I
Oh my
drink
God.
out of straws all the time.
I don't think I ever stopped drinking out of straws.
I did for
I
like the first
genuinely
6 months. I was just like, oh my god, if I drink out of a straw, it's gonna be the end.
no, because I have used one of these Starbucks cups every single day for the last 3 years of my life, and I was fine. So I don't know, um, but I do drink slower out of straws now. Like, it's like a
Oh,
sip.
do you?
Like, it's like, yeah, I can't like take like two chugs out of a straw. Like, I have to
Like, and
like
to tell people the massive difference it can be from one person to the next getting the same exact surgery. Like, I have friends who were like, I cannot chug any sort of liquid.
I can't chug
I could
either.
chug this whole bottle right now and it will not
Mm-mm.
affect me.
I
Like,
can't do that.
it's
Yeah.
so weird.
I also still cannot chew gum. It
I
makes
haven't even
me
tried.
I did once, and it was on my second date with a person, and I was just like burping so much, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't stop. Like, I physically can't, like, I can't. This is my first, and he knew my situation, so he just thought it was really funny. But and after that, I never chewed gum again. I'm fully a mint person now.
I love mints.
But oh, me too. But yeah, like, I feel like it's just you can do the same surgery on people and they can like stick to it to a T, but
Yep.
it's still going to affect them so much differently. Like my breakfast every morning is a protein shake and coffee
Hmm.
because I feel empty inside if I don't have that. and then and then that's like my favorite hack. I tell everybody that. I'm like, first of all, 30 grams of protein, your first snack, your first meal of the day.
Hmm.
It like you unknowingly eat like 600 to 800 calories less a day,
Yep.
and it tastes good. So just do that. That's my first order of business. And because that's what my doctor told me. She was
Yeah.
like, first of all, Megan, doesn't even have to be like breakfast. Just as long, actually, it's like 200 to 300 calories. That's not 600 to 800. It's
Yeah.
200 to 300 less calories a day. Um, 600 to 800 would be whack. Uh, but yeah, she's like, first of all, Megan, it doesn't even have to be like breakfast. Just whatever meal you eat first in the day should contain 30 grams of protein. And I was like, cool.
Done.
So that's when I started drinking the Premier protein shakes, and they're my best friends now.
I used to drink those
I
a
can't live
lot.
without them.
I used to drink them a
I'm
lot.
I'm a partner with them on Instagram now. They
Wow.
don't pay me. They don't pay
They
me,
just
but
send
I
you the
get free
stuff.
shit in the mail every month.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I have that and coffee, and then I have a serving of Kodiak cakes with peanut butter and a little bit of maple syrup, and then
I've
which
always
is
wanted to
already
try
like,
those.
oh, they're so good. The dark chocolate ones, the dark chocolate ones are life changing. I honestly, I kind of just ate them because they tasted all right and they were like good for like decent for me.
Yeah.
But the dark chocolate ones, I look forward to eating those every morning. Like they're that good.
That's me.
And
It's funny.
so,
That's me with that French toast, the Greg Doucette's French toast. Like
yeah,
that's every
yeah,
single morning. I've not missed it in 6 months.
I know. And so, yeah, I have those with like a tablespoon of peanut butter. And the way I measure out tablespoons is 3 teaspoons. It makes it feel like more to me for some reason, but it's the same amount. And and then I have like maybe eggs. Like I'll make like an egg with an egg white, like scrambled eggs,
Yeah.
if I'm like really hungry that morning. But that's what I eat for breakfast. Like that's a poop ton of food, and that's a lot of protein too.
Mm-hmm.
And I can scarf it down like nobody's business. And like this is most definitely not a half a cup to a cup of food. This is way more than that. But like I'm fine.
Well, I
I don't
remember
know.
them
Like
telling us, like, and I'm sure they told you the same thing. The first 2 months is liquids only, or the first month is liquid only. After like a week and a half, I was started eating like relatively solid foods again.
oh, I was not like that at all.
And I think
No.
that's just my stubbornness. I was just like, if I
Yeah.
have to be stuck on liquids, I'm gonna lose my mind, and I like it's not gonna be
Yeah.
good for me.
Oh, I did. I fully lost my mind. I was on a clear liquid diet for 2 weeks. And so I was only drinking like as much protein shake as I could
Yeah.
and then Gatorade. Because I can't stand plain broth. I just cannot do it. And so I was like, I'm only consuming Gatorade. That's all I'm doing. And I will never drink Gatorade again unless I have like the stomach flu. But
I'm the same way.
yeah, I went from clear liquids for 2 weeks to pureed foods for a month. I did a month of pureed foods.
That's so different because
and then
I didn't have a pureed stage.
Yeah.
I went from liquid to solid.
I eventually, I would say after like 2 or 3 weeks of pureed foods, I got to the point where I was like, Megan, if you chew it enough, like it's pureed,
Yeah.
you're fine. And I definitely don't recommend that. But it helped me feel like I was doing more. So I was like, it's fine. And then I went after a month to eating normal, like solid foods. And I think the first thing I ate was like kids menu, like grilled chicken and broccoli at like Applebee's or something. And I could only eat like 3 bites of it. And I was really full.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, when you first go to a restaurant after it, there's always that weird thing where like, oh, did you not like the food? And you're like, okay, give me a second. I'll explain this whole thing to you.
Yeah, I was like, hold on. Yeah, I know, because I remember like when bariatrics, one of my mom's old friends was one of the first people in our region to get gastric bypass, I think. And so it was like pretty new at the time. And so like she wanted to be able to order off the kids menu, but like they wouldn't let her because she was older. And so I think for a while our clinic like gave you a card that was, like,
they asked if I wanted
like
one too.
Excused you. Yeah, it like excused, it was like a doctor's note to be able to order off the kids menu. But yeah, like that's pretty interesting because I can never finish a portion at a restaurant. I eat like maybe a quarter of it from restaurant food, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So if I go somewhere, I'll order like grilled chicken tenders.
Yep.
And then eat.
They're usually off the kids menu.
Yeah.
Sometimes the kids menu is the only place you can get grilled chicken. And I'm like, this is terrible.
It really is, honestly. Question. Did you have any sort of massive backlash for that video from anybody? No.
That is the thing that surprised me the most. Like,
that blows my mind.
I know. Like, I definitely got like, you don't know what you're talking about, this is stupid comments.
Yeah.
But like, I overwhelmingly more positive than negative.
That's great.
And I have, yeah. And I've also, there's one girl that I follow on YouTube now that she made a video in response to mine. And
that's how you know you're gotten big.
Yeah, right. Oh, we should talk about my Amberlynn Reed video after that.
Oh, please, please.
But this girl, she was like part of like this, I would say she was as involved as like I was in the whole fat acceptance thing. She made a video saying how my video caused her to really reevaluate her thought processes towards it. And now she's on a weight loss thing.
That's awesome.
A weight loss journey. And I'm like, that's badass. Like, this is amazing. I even shared her initial video on my community tabs. I'm like, look at this. This is so cool. But I've actually had like people message me on Instagram and stuff too, basically telling me the same thing. And
that's an amazing feeling. Like, no matter how many times you get it, you're like, that I'm doing something good here.
It never gets old. And it's like I had a girl message me like last month. She's like a junior in high school or something. And to me, now that I'm like out of college and like moved on, I'm like, wow, she's so young. But I'm really only 24, so there's really not that big of an age difference.
No, there's not.
But she told me how much like my videos help her, like especially my virtual big sis videos, because she said it actually feels like that. And I'm like, that's why I started.
That's the point.
And I'm like, this makes me so happy.
That's
like,
so good.
It's so cool.
when your message lands with the audience that you want it to land with, it's incredible. Like, I had no real drive to do this podcast or any of the stuff that I'm doing. And then, like, even on that picture that went viral, there's no hashtags. I wanted it just for the friends that were following me. That was it. And then, you know, you start getting all the notifications on your phone. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the person D, when they posted the video in the Discord server, I think they were one of my only subscribers that like didn't know me in real life.
Yeah, that's crazy,
so
isn't it?
It was like, yeah. And like, they're basically the reason this all happened, and I still really need to send them like a thank you gift, because like it's really truly like their fault, and I like and I owe them like big time.
I wish I knew who was the person who started that post going crazy.
This was D, so I need to like send them a gift or something. They're in Canada, so I'm like, I need to do something. But yeah, I like overwhelmingly more positive than negative comments on the fat acceptance video. And also just like the reason I started my channel to begin with, honestly, was about weight loss, but I also just wanted to be like a virtual friend as well. Like, that was something, because I grew up with those. Like, I have certain channels that I watch that I consider like virtual friends, even though they don't know me. Like, I go watch their videos because they calm me down, and it's nice. And I've been told that a lot, that people put my videos on even in the background if they're feeling like anxious or something.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently I have a very soothing voice, which I think is hilarious. I've always been told I have a really nasally voice, but I'm like, cool, whatever. But yeah, like the fact that that is actually happening is so cool to me. Like, I have people that are like considerably older than me, like in their like 30s, like mid 30s, even like 40s, bordering like 50s. That watch me. And they're like, yeah, like I'm way older than you, but like you feel like a virtual like little sister, like a virtual friend or something. And I'm like, that is exactly what I want.
that was something I started So the people that communicate with me usually the most often are not people in this country. It's usually Australians. They fucking love me. Like,
Yeah. I have a lot of Canadians.
oh, really?
Yes. And it was funny, somebody actually, after the whole like thing at the Capitol happened, because I like went on like a 6 minute long rant about that in my like second to newest video. Um, somebody commented in my Discord about how like our emotional support Canadians are here for us. And I'm like, I have so many emotional support Canadians. It makes me so happy.
That's so funny. Like, you know, and all it takes is one thing. Like for the Australians, for me, I was on the Today Show in Australia, and like as soon as I was like, all right, see you guys later, and I hit stop and like I hung up the call, I was just like, all right, let me just go check my emails real quick, and it was just like, you have 120 new followers. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
well, yeah, like after John reacted to my video, I called Mario and I was like, dude, like like you're not fully gonna understand what I'm about to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you about it anyway.
Because you need to get it out.
because like I'm like deep in the internet and he's like not really. And also my parents too. I'm like, you're not fully gonna understand this, but like I need to tell you what just happened because this could potentially be like a very big deal.
Yeah.
And then like as my subscriber count just because it was to the point where it was going up like 1,000 subscribers every day for like probably like 2 weeks. Yeah. And it got to the point where Mario was like, well, yeah, like that's what's been happening like every day for the past like 10 days. And I'm like, I know, but it's just me. Like
I say that all the time. Like, it's just me. Like, why am I different?
I have one of the least exciting lives ever. And like I work a full-time job. That like is sometimes really great and sometimes is not great at all. And like I live in a tiny apartment because that's not tiny, but it's smaller and it's like built in the 1970s. So it's like old. And I'm like, because that's all I can afford. Like it's just like I'm just me. I'm not like a typical like YouTuber.
Yeah.
And so the fact that, and I feel like that might be part of my success, but like,
well, I think that's why John's audience really attached to you because John's just being John.
Yeah.
You know,
like I don't care. Like I tell people all the time, I don't care what happens with this for me. One, I don't think it will ever be my full-time job.
Yeah.
That will never happen. Because it's too variable, like it's too unpredictable. And also I feel like it just puts too much pressure on it and it puts too much pressure on the audience as well. Knowing that like your audience is the reason you're making money.
Yeah.
That is just too, I think it would affect the relationship no matter how hard I tried to keep it the same.
Well, I mean, you always see the same like arc for most YouTubers. It's like, I'm new. This is crazy. What's happening? Yeah. I'm getting comfortable. Oh my God, there's a lot of pressure. I'm starting not to like YouTube. I'm closing my channel.
Or it gets to the point like, I'm new. What is happening? This is crazy. I'm really popular. I go buy $10,000 worth of Gucci clothes. I now own a like $7 million mansion in LA, but I'm still trying to be relatable.
And you're still losing, and now you're losing your audience because you are not who they came to see.
Right. And inevitably the channel dies.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't want that to happen. Not that I ever think I will get to that level of success, but like
but you fostered a good community.
Right. My community is dope. I love them. Like I love the community that I have built on my channel or that has come to me. I haven't even built it. They just came to me. And like it's so cool. And especially like my Discord is the coolest place. I love it. I am not on there all the time, like interacting.
It's really hard to operate a Discord. I completely took it for granted.
Yeah, It's so, I think I spent like 6 hours setting that thing up and I still didn't have
Wow.
everything I needed. And I have some basic understanding of like code and everything, and it
Yeah.
was still really hard to set up. And I was like, okay, now I understand why like John has people who helped him with this, because this
Yeah.
is ridiculous. Um, but yeah, my Discord's super cool. I'm not on it like interacting all the time, but like I lurk on there a lot and I just go like look at everybody
Make
like
sure everybody's
talking to
keeping
each
the
other.
peace. Or nobody's just at each
And
other.
well, I have moderators too,
Yeah.
but like it's so cool to go on there and just see people. Nobody's had to be banned.
That's great.
No, but like none of that's had to happen. And it's been, I have like almost 200 members on it, I think. Like I'm at like 160, 170 or something.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's so cool to see people helping each other out and just being really kind and supportive to each other, because that just doesn't happen on the internet anymore.
No, it really doesn't.
and and I mean, to the best of, I think I get a notification if one of my mods had to ban somebody, and I haven't gotten that notification yet. So um yeah, like I it's just a really cool place, and we talk about everything, like more than just weight loss. There's like channels for art and music and shows and like, and uh I don't know, I made one called sensitive topics for if anybody's just like having a bad day and
Yeah.
want to rant about it, they can, like that kind of thing. And it's super cool, and it's like I'm just really proud of that space because it's super super cool.
Well, the one thing
And
I thought that would never come out of it with any sort of virality is like I thought for sure I was going to start looking in comment sections and be like, oh man, like people are
yeah,
terrible. But like that post goes viral like almost every month, maybe twice a month on Reddit. 98% are amazing comments.
yeah, me too.
And it's like,
And I don't hold any, I mean, I hold, YouTube has like a thing in place where it like automatically holds certain comments, like if that like AI like picks up on like hurtful language or like links,
yeah,
so those will be held. But I don't filter out any words, like
yeah,
nothing. I don't actively go in there and be like, don't show these types of comments.
yeah.
That's not what I do.
You trust your
And
community.
because I don't have to.
Yeah.
Like the positivity in my comments is like overwhelming. It's so cool. And that's why like I like I talked about my Amberlyn Reed video. I'm still really proud of that video, but I hate that video at the same time
Her
because
audience is pretty brutal.
it brought so much negativity to my channel for like the week that it was up between when I posted it.
Yeah.
And even after like I posted a new video, it was still getting so much attention. And like people were calling me ignorant, they were questioning my intelligence, they were like everything.
Like, and just so
And
people that don't know,
oh
Amberlyn
yeah,
Reed's a YouTuber who she's a big girl,
yeah,
but she I hate to say this, but I think she takes advantage of her community a little bit.
oh I agree.
Because she'll
And
always do this thing like, oh, I'm losing weight, and then like the very next video she's like, I gained 10 pounds, that's not
yeah,
bad, and you're just like, oh.
and I feel like I didn't do a good enough, and honestly, I feel like that's kind of where my video failed, was I didn't do a good enough job. And it didn't even fail. Like the engagement on it is more positive than negative,
Yeah.
but just the comments sucked.
Yeah, her audience
uh,
is very loud.
yeah. But I feel like that's kind of where I lost it a little bit, was I didn't touch on the negative aspects of her channel and what she does and what she has done,
Yeah.
because I just didn't feel like it was valid, or not valid. It didn't feel like it was necessary to bring up to talk about the point I was trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people give her way too much credit.
Yes.
I think they think she's some like mastermind, like manipulator
No.
person, when it's clear to me, at least, she's not.
Honestly, she's like
Um,
every person who's ever been on My 600 Pound Life that
yeah,
just refuses to partake in the program.
exactly. And my big issue, because I was like, and honestly, I still do watch some reactions, but it's mainly like there's one called, her name's Shakara Transformations,
Hmm.
and she's a bodybuilder, and she initially started it from like a pettiness point of view, but then they all kind of got called out for that, and she openly admits, she's a very blunt person, so I
Yeah.
don't think she'd lie about this. um she openly admits that it made her like reevaluate the kind of content she was making, and so now she comes at it from a point of being a bodybuilder, being fairly well versed in nutrition and health and all that kind of stuff. Because she also had an eating disorder too before she became a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. Like, I find her commentary on the whole situation very interesting. But I just don't understand the channels that literally all the videos they make are about her.
Yeah, I thought that was
Like,
I thought that was really weird. I mean, I've seen that about a couple of channels that like,
mhm,
there's like right now, for example, there's a lot of people making videos after video just talking about Greg, or
mhm,
there's people that just make videos just talking about John,
yeah,
and it's just like, how about you create your own content and then somebody will talk about you?
mhm.
Like, that's what you want.
Well, yeah, there were, after I made that video, one more well known than the other made like videos at me
Yeah,
about me, and which I expected, but
of
like I
course.
also really didn't want to happen at the same time, because I'm like, they're gonna twist it and they're gonna skew my point,
Yeah, that always
and that's
happens.
exactly what they did. I didn't even watch one of them. I was like, I'm done it, because it was made like 2 months after I posted. I'm like, dude,
This is
this is old
old.
news. Like, um, and I did get a lot of shit about monetizing that video as well, which I fully expected. But the amount of research that went into that video,
Hmm.
I was like, I deserve financial compensation for this.
Yeah. Look.
And and yeah, I feel like people forget that part of YouTube as well, like the prepping
Yeah.
and the actual
There's a lot of
video.
work that goes into all that stuff. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like, I've talked to you a bunch of times, and I said, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm editing." you know,
Yeah.
Luckily for
Yeah,
you,
because
you talk very well, so you're not, your videos aren't jump cutty.
yeah, I've started to edit out a lot because I go like a
Yeah.
lot when I talk in videos, and luckily they're like long drawn out so
Yeah.
they're easy to like cut
Get
out.
out of there.
But I have gotten better about listening to myself talk and being more aware of how I'm talking to make it easier on me after I'm done. But yeah, and I do get a lot of comments about like how slow I talk, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
from a really small town in the Midwest. We all talk really slow. It's
it's
just
not
how
that
we do
it's
things.
not that slow, because John didn't put it in double speed, which he does to some people. Like, he'll be like, "Oh my god, I need to
Oh
speed you
no,
up."
he did that to me.
Did he? I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
he sped me up, which I understand. He did it on the one that I did about fitness influencers too.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
I watched that one at work, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry for how slow I talk." And he's like, "It's okay. I just talk like ridiculously fast." And I'm like, "But this is like excruciating for me to watch right now."
But he had to learn how to talk
Yeah.
fast, because you watch some of his old videos, like his really old videos, and he's
Hmm.
really drawing everything out.
Yeah. I do feel like I'm getting better at that though. Like, especially in my Arbonne video that I just did, I
Mhm.
feel like I kept everything pretty quick and well paced. So
Yeah, that's another
there are
thing
things
I've
that you
learned from
don't
you.
think about.
The MLM, the mainline marketing companies,
Multi-level
multi-level marketing.
marketing.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
basically the pyramid schemes.
Yes,
Um,
the legal pyramid schemes.
Amway and Beach, or not Beachbody, but
Yeah, Beachbody.
Yeah, Beachbody.
Beachbody. Yeah, Amway is like the
The
OG.
O.
Herbalife is
I can't
another
believe that
one.
place is still around though. Amway.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
blows
I
my
know.
mind that people
I
still
know. Like
fall
they've
for it.
gone through like a myriad of like lawsuits about being a pyramid scheme, and they're
Hmm.
still around. It's because it's like so rooted into the government. There's a whole story about that. But
You're breaking it down
yeah,
though for these MLMs.
yeah, yeah. And I'm only focusing on ones that are like centered around like health and wellness, because there's a lot that aren't, and I just don't feel like that's really relevant.
Yeah, of course.
But to my channel anyways, because there's so many like anti-MLM YouTubers on YouTube, that I just wanted to come to it with a different perspective on it, as someone who has been, one, targeted by some of these people because I have lost weight, and two, just as someone who has lost weight.
Yeah.
Because their stuff is ridiculous. I feel Arbonne is the one that I think pisses me off the most,
Hmm.
because
The
everything's
prices.
just so expensive.
That was crazy when I
And
was
they,
listening to you how expensive some of that stuff is. I was like, you got
uh-huh.
to be kidding me.
And yeah, and I have like a few friends from college that sell it, and I'm just like, dude, stop. Like, ugh. But I don't say anything because I know they won't listen to me.
Of course.
But Beachbody also pisses me off, just in the fact how restrict. But I mean, even Arbonne, their meal plan is really restrictive as well.
Mhm.
But Beachbody's meal plans are super restrictive, like 1,200 calories a day restrictive, regardless of what size you are currently. Um, the only thing I do like about Beachbody is that their trainers, like their super trainers or whatever,
Yeah.
are actually certified physical
Trainers.
trainers.
Yeah.
So like the ones that do their like workouts and stuff, they're all certified trainers. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, that's okay.
At least you
And
have some sort
also,
of credibility to you at that point.
yeah, but then they also call their employees, they're 1099 contractors, which is what I am through YouTube.
Hmm.
And literally all they have to do is pay money to join this company. Beachbody calls their sellers coaches.
Oh, yeah. It's a bad.
And I'm like, that's so misleading.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
that's so misleading. And yeah.
Well, you and I talked about it.
But
Like the fact that you or I had any sort of attention, like in your inbox, always it's companies. This is like, hey, buy like $100 of our stuff and we'll totally sponsor you. No.
I was so excited. Okay.
So
I
was I
got
at
this
first.
message. Yeah. I got this message in my inbox from a company that I had seen online and I almost ordered from once.
Yeah.
And it was a company that basically made a bracelet or was it bracelet? I can't remember what it was. It was something for you,
Hmm.
but then they made a matching collar for your cat so you could match. And I was so excited. I saw this once online. I was gonna buy it. They wanted to sponsor me. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh no, we'll give you a coupon code and you just have to spend like $25. And I'm like,
I could just
no,
buy it at
that's
that
not what
point.
that means. I'll just buy it. Like, that's stupid. And I was so sad.
And it's
I was
easily
so
like
ready to have.
one or two a week at least.
Mm. I like the ones that are like, oh, so and so wants to sponsor you. Go over their page and send them a DM.
That's the main ones. That's the main ones. And the funniest thing about that to me was, so I started getting those, and then I get the message. It's like, hi, my name's Christine. I'm with the Today Show in Australia. Can you go hit up the Today Show's page? And I was just like,
Yeah.
is this a scheme? Like, I feel like this
You
is a
didn't work
scheme.
there.
Yeah. And, you
Yeah.
know,
I've now since realized that any legitimate sponsor will come through your email. So
yeah.
yeah.
An actual legit
Like that's
sponsor.
how Skillshare contacted me. They were
And
like,
that's fantastic.
Skillshare partnership or whatever, and I'm like, hells yeah.
Especially considering
Let's
it's something
do
you
this.
use.
Yes. And they also, I think they have, I haven't looked because I haven't like needed it, but I think they have like health and wellness related like courses on there.
Yeah.
And it's from like people who actually are certified to know what they're talking about. So I have to go look. But yeah. So that was really exciting for me because that's like my first actual like part like sponsorship that I've gotten. So
That's really good.
yeah,
Like, and again,
yeah,
you've come a very long way in a very short time with all this stuff.
it's overwhelming. Like people still shit on me for my ring light, and I'm like, do you have any idea how expensive lighting is?
Oh,
No.
I took a nice little hit when I bought these like the Elgato Streamlight Airs or whatever
Yeah,
they're called.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I respect the probably people who haven't been to my channel before and they're like, hey, the ring light in your glasses is really distracting. I respect that. That's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I went to art school. That's what they train you to deal with for
Hmm.
5 years or 4 or 5 years. Like it's fine. But like I had some, I don't want to like call anybody out, but I had someone like comment on it. They were like, you said a month ago you'd fix it and it's still there. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Do you want a link to
Like,
my PayPal that you can just give me this magical
you want to
money you
like
have?
Venmo me some money? Like,
Jesus.
because, and also, do you want to give me money so I can get a bigger apartment to fit 2 box lights in? Because that would be great, because I don't have that right now.
Yeah, like
And but then I have some people where like if I wear my contacts in a video, they're like, "Oh, I kind of miss the light in your glasses," and I'm like, "Thank you." No, but they're like nice people.
yeah,
Like
no,
they're
but
people
it's
I
just like a
trust.
no-win
Like
situation at that point.
no, no. And I mean, when me and Mario do move, because we're planning on moving in 2022 to like a bigger space,
Yeah.
um, uh, I do want to like. He's already like. I've voiced it and he agreed that like I need like an office or something. Like I need like for my Etsy and for filming, whether it's an office that like we share or whatever. I just need a bigger space for what I'm doing.
I agree.
And well, because you can see like this is my desktop and that's my kitchen. Like it's so like it's so condensed. And I film in my living room, but that's just right over there.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, so the ring light's just gonna have to do for like another year until I can get to like shadow boxes or not
Well,
shadow
yeah, I mean
boxes, but light boxes.
nobody's not coming to your page because of the ring light.
I know, and I'm like, also I just want to be like, this was, and I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining, but this was thrown into my lap. 6 videos in.
Yeah,
Like,
you didn't expect it. Like, honestly,
no.
if I'm to be honest, and I've said this before on this show, is yes, eventually I actually did expect that I was going to take off a little bit, but my thought was it was going to be a picture I posted after I'm through police academy where it was like me at my biggest,
Oh yeah.
me in full uniform, just like, holy shit. No, it was me shirtless, like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and after police academy, my dad, I've seen photos of my dad after the academy and like he looked like a skeleton. So like that would be like a dramatic change.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You know,
but
I mean, even now, like, so I think the key right now is to not take so many things as a setback. Like, so for example, I'm looking for something right now. I went to a chiropractor Friday for the first time ever. And yeah, exactly.
Dude, I love the chiropractor. Oh. I haven't gone in forever, but like the last one I went to, he wasn't all about just like cracking things.
Yeah.
He was like, he would like massage the area and then set it. And oh my God, life changing. Anyways.
So the chiropractor took the x-rays on Friday, and then yesterday I came in for let's look at these together. And together it was 2 bone spurs, a herniated disc, early osteoarthritis, degenerative disc in my neck, 2.5 inches forward tilted neck than I'm supposed to, and a tilted pelvis. Like I was just like, I'm falling apart.
I'm broken.
Yeah. But it's the key to that is just not letting that get you down. You know, it's just like the treatment's going to be expensive, but let's just go. Let's get it done.
I've fully kind of anticipated later on in life probably having to get something like done to my knees, just from carrying so much extra weight for
I think
20 years
you were
of
so
my
young.
life.
when you got it remedied, that I honestly think you'll be good, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it could go either way because I do just have like super flat feet as it is.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that kind of like fucked everything up.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I feel like it could go either way. I remember, and I don't know how accurate this is like at all, but I remember like I was reading online, I think it was from a pretty reputable source, that if you are morbidly obese as a child
Hmm.
and you fix it before a certain point in adulthood, it's basically like you were never obese in the first place, like blood work wise.
Yeah.
And I think there might be some truth to that because I have completely flipped my blood work. Like all my blood work is like fine.
Eh,
And like, and I haven't had any more issues with it. And I also haven't been as like religious about
Getting it done.
keeping up with everything.
Well, I mean, it's
And
it's a
it
weird
didn't
thing.
affect anything.
Like I tell people often, I was like, just because your blood work is fine doesn't mean you are fine. Like my blood work at
Yeah.
my biggest was right down the middle, like perfect. And I was like, I
Yeah.
wasn't pre-diabetic or anything like that, um, but I definitely wasn't fine.
Yeah, my only two big not my only two, but like the two big things were my liver and my prediabetes. And I didn't have like cholesterol
Yeah,
problems. I didn't have like any of those issues. And I think now I'm just like iron deficient, which like if you're a bariatric person and you're not iron deficient, like something's wrong with you because
mine's
that's just
B12.
like yeah, oh yeah.
My B12 gets
Yeah.
tragically low, like to the point where,
I'm so bad at taking my vitamins.
yeah,
Like
I'm trying. I'm really trying to like get myself
I
in that
made it a
habit.
goal with my RD to take my vitamins last month, and I have not taken a single vitamin. And I'm just like blaming it on the holidays. I meet with her on Saturday, and I'm just like, I haven't. But I've lost 2 pounds since I saw her the last time, so I'm like, well,
So we'll take the victories where we can get them.
yeah. um, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm terrible with my
I
vitamins too. And I hate saying that because I am
they're like
such a
horse pills.
disciplined person now. Like I
Mhm.
like I wake up so early. I work out twice a day, all this stuff, and just the vitamin things.
I
I don't
don't
know
do
why
any
my
of that.
brain doesn't want.
Yeah, I feel like our YouTube channels are going to be two like vastly different things
They
because
are, but I
you're going to
think,
be like, I do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, I work out twice a month. Like, look at me go.
but I think it's a very healthy thing because it shows that you know you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Like you're happy where you're at right now. Like that's
Ish, but yeah.
yeah, like you're in the neighborhood, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like I'm in the state, I'm not quite in the neighborhood, city, county yet where I
Yeah.
want to be. Um
Yeah.
but I think it's important that everybody has to know that not everybody has to be ripped and jacked and no, I don't want to be jacked. I just want to
You
be
just have to be
in
healthy
shape.
and happy. Like, yeah, that's like the two things. Like, I want to get below 200 pounds again,
Yeah.
solely just so and I'm at like 211.
Yeah.
So
You're
I'm pretty close.
knocking on the door.
Pretty much, I'm almost there. And I now have a solid plan with my RD on how to get there, which is kind of was my issue in the beginning was like after I went to the like doctor out here, I just didn't know. Like
Yeah.
because I was in that weird period where like I could pretty much eat anything that kind of and it was my first time being there and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, only eat a cup of food. And I'm like, ah, okay. And
And no
but
caffeine.
yeah. Um but yeah, so now I feel like I actually have a plan. So I feel like I like getting there is realistic
Yeah.
and I don't feel deprived of anything either. And so that's really nice. Um, but I just want to get back below 200 pounds again because I don't know if I'll ever have kids, but like as a woman, I want to be below 200 pounds if I have a kid,
Yeah.
because of the weight that you gain from being pregnant. And so I just want to be like somewhat in that area, so I don't jump to like 270 pounds or whatever. Like that's not something that I want to do.
Well, my goal
And
is like,
yeah.
and I've said it just because I want to say I did it once. Like I want to be 199.9 and then just go right back to where like I feel comfortable.
Yeah. My lowest was 197 or something.
Yeah.
And now I'm at, I think the highest I weighted at last year, like 2020, was 215. But I went from 207 to 197 in, like I said, like
That's
3
the
months.
unhealthy part. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not healthy or sustainable for my body at all.
And I don't know about you, but like for me, I think it's important to have all these like little mini goals that you're like reaching. Like my mini goal for this year or for last year was to get down to the point where I could skydive. I'm there. Like I'm literally going skydiving in a month. Like
that's exciting. I would never, but that's cool.
But like I think always having a goal to like just do something, even if it's just like I want to fit into this one thing or you know whatever it is. I think that's very healthy.
Yeah. I usually don't use like sizes as a goal because they're so different from brand to brand. But I'm pretty much a steady size 14 everywhere now, which is good because I was a 2024 at my highest, or 22 24 at my highest. So I'm like, okay. But I would like to be a size 12. Like that's cool with me. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a size 14, but I feel like as a size 12, you can just shop more places. So that's more exciting.
That is such a big thing. Like whenever I realized that I was out of like the fat guy store, that blew my mind. Like I was just like,
I went to Chicago for a job interview after I graduated college, and there's a plus size brand for women called Eloquy. And I had shopped there online forever. And one of their only like actual brick and mortar stores is in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was in the mall and I saw it and I was like, holy poop, it's Eloquy. I'm going to go in. And then it was like carrying sizes like 14 to 30 or something like that. And at that point, I was like a 12. And I'm like, and they're a plus 14 as well, which is bigger.
Yeah.
So that's like straight size 16. So like that's too big. And I was like, I can't fit into anything here. And I had to walk out. And I'm like,
see you later, old friend.
That was the weirdest experience for me. Like, yeah. Because like a plus 14 is like a straight size 16. So like it's way too big for me. Even at a size 14 now for me.
Walking into an Old Navy for clothes for me was baffling. I was just like, I guess I'm here now. Like,
yeah. I always shop at Old Navy, but Old Navy clothes, like, especially their women's clothes, they run really big.
Oh,
like,
do they?
It's very weird. Like, I'm like a medium there. I'm not a medium anywhere.
like I'm a solid large everywhere now. And my mind.
Like, typically, I'm typically a large, extra large on top.
Yeah.
But a pretty solid extra large on the bottom. I'm very like, my shoulders have narrowed out a lot. I used to have really broad shoulders and now I don't.
It's weird. Like, and I still have this thing where like my pants that I wear for work, for example, are probably a size or two too big. And I'm just like, no, I need them. I need to hold on to these because that's where my brain's always been. You know,
I just got rid of the remainder of like, not even like my fat clothes, because I got rid of those a long time ago. I got rid of those before I moved.
Yeah.
But like my clothes that I got when I moved here, excuse me, or the ones that I came here with that were still like a little bit too big, but I could still make it work. I finally just got rid of all of those. And
I gave all my protein shakes, my Premier protein shakes to the people who did my surgery. I gave it to them nice. And it was like a boatload, like Costco's full of Premier Protein. I was like, give this to the patients. Like, they can try it. They can do whatever they want. You know,
they're my favorite.
I'm not going to drink them anymore. But yeah, honestly, thank you so much for being here. It was amazing.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this was fun.
Plug your everything. Plug it all.
Okay. On Instagram, you can find me at Hey Look It's Megan. My YouTube channel is Megananne, and with an E at the end. Need to clarify that. And my Etsy store is called Maid Station. And that's all I've got.
That's amazing. And
that's it.
You guys, please go to her YouTube channel, her Instagram, go to everything. Buy her whole store out on Etsy. That would be amazing. Just to say that I had contributed to that in any way. Yeah, and once the YouTube page is up and running, we'll totally do the collab thing. We'll figure out how to make that happen.
Yes, I want to. We will do it.
You guys know where to reach me at Brock with a Strong Name on Instagram and at the Broadcast, BROCKAST, everywhere. Literally everywhere. And we're getting ready to be on Radio 1, so that'll be in iHeartRadio soon. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. I will see you guys later, and always remember to find your why.